The interesting thing about religious horror movies is that they are not just scary, but also tap into mystery as well as the spiritual world, which is why the audience and movie makers keep on coming back for more. When done well, religious horror films often draw on philosophical, theological, as well as scientific debates and themes related to God and the paranormal. Hey guys, what's happening? Welcome back to another FTD Facts episode. And for this one, I'm going to be filling you in on the top 10 religious horror movies that you definitely have to watch. Now, if you are scared pretty easily, click off this video. But if you're brave enough, let's continue. Starting at number 10, we have The Exorcist. One of the most horrifying films ever produced is The Exorcist. There aren't many horror films that can claim to have terrified people to the point where they literally had to check themselves into mental hospitals. The Exorcist might actually be the only horror film to have frightened viewers to the point where it sparked Catholic Church revivals. For real. Now, the family in the movie appears to be a typical one until Regan, the daughter, played by Linda Blair, becomes possessed by the devil, which makes the movie very, very creepy. A whole lot of visuals, especially at that time, were just mind-blowing for people, and it really terrified them. Next up at number 9, we have The Queen of Black Magic. Now, it's a rare thing for a remake to outdo the original version, yet Kimo Stambul's gruesome 2019 film does just that by upping the ante on body horror with realistic gore. Deep in rural Indonesia, a humble orphanage is supposed to be the site of a warm union between three friends. But in the past and in this place, there is buried a terrible secret. Now something horrid has arisen to claim vengeance on them and their families because of the secret that they've been keeping. With creeping dread as well as stomach-churning scares and ruthless supernatural twists, this one is legit scary. The movie coming into the number spot is The Conjuring. The Conjuring director James Wan advanced John Carpenter's fake-out jump scare technique in this supernatural horror blockbuster from the year 2013. Wan already had Saw as well as Insidious under his horror movie belt when it was released, but he took things to a new level with the horror movie that would launch its own Conjuring universe with 2 sequels, the Annabelle movies, as well as The Nun, and more. I think actually they have another Conjuring movie coming out, but I could be wrong. Either way, it was written by Chad Hayes as well as Carrie W. Hayes, and the original movie has terrified viewers all over the world. Ed and Lorraine Warren, played by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga respectively, it looks into the eerie activities of the Perron family in Rhode Island in the year 1971, and you'll never look at wardrobes the same way again after this movie. Frailty comes in at number 7. Although it's not based on a Stephen King book, Frailty is said to have a Stephen King kind of vibe to it. The supernatural nature of the film is debatable, and whether the viewer thinks that Dad Meeks is mentally ill, or he's delusional, or he may actually be hearing the voice of God telling him to take the lives of specific people from the phone book, well, it's all left up to interpretation. The film's chilling conclusion is felt by many viewers well after the movie has ended. Another horror movie that you gotta check out, or not if you're too scared, The Omen. The Omen, directed by Richard Donner, is a prime example of how the first installment in a series almost always is just way better than any other sequels or remakes. In this tale of alleged possession, a father and his troubled son experience a terrifying encounter with demonic forces. And Harvey Stevens' performance as the spooky young Damien Thorne earned him a nomination for a Golden Globe and cemented his place in horror history. This movie has become a staple horror film, and it's one that everybody needs to watch. The original one I'm talking about. Not the remakes or the sequels or anything like that, the original. Children of the Corn comes in at the number 5 spot. Stephen King's short story served as the basis for the movie Children of the Corn. A large part of the Children of the Corn's success as such a legendary horror film is due to the casting of John Franklin as Isaac as well as Courtney Gaines as Malachi. They embody their characters with such a devotion to religion that it freaks out anyone who's seen the film. The opening scene of the film also is very memorable because it's so terrifying. The creepy horror film up next is Rosemary's Baby. Many horror films emphasize helplessness, and the classic Rosemary's Baby does so in several different ways. After relocating to a New York apartment building, Guy and Rosemary Woodhouse, they are a young couple, they quickly experience unusual changes in their lives. Things start to get strange after they decide to become parents. It turns out that Rosemary's womb will serve as the host for the Antichrist, who will be born because the people who live in the building are followers of an evil satanic cult. In at number 3, we have The Exorcism of Emily Rose, one of my favorites. The story is loosely based on Anneliese Michel, who underwent exorcisms that were sanctioned by the Catholic Church, and after those exorcisms, she ended up passing away. And the story revolves around the court case surrounding the passing of Emily Rose, who's played by Jennifer Carpenter. And Emily is a girl who goes through a lot of torment, and she is possessed by 6 demons, including Satan himself. In at the number 2 spot, we have The Witch. In the wake of one of the clan's children going missing, a family living in religious exile in the 1630s New England is followed in the writer-director Robert Eggers' eerie chiller, which stars Anya Taylor-Joy. Now, it's said that what sets this movie apart from other horror films is the sheer beauty each scene simply exerts. There is a subtle beauty to the costumes, like each frame might represent a painting or a spooky Vogue editorial, things like that. Also, the soundtrack is the perfect soundtrack to accompany the movie. So the movie is a whole experience in and of itself. Like, you gotta watch it to know what I'm talking about. Now, the creepy movie in at the number 1 spot is Midnight Mass. Okay, I gotta admit that this one isn't a movie, it's a TV show. You can find it on Netflix, but I just had to include it in this list because it's that good. And most of you who are watching this that have seen it definitely gotta agree with me, like 2 thumbs up for this one. Midnight Mass really taps into the scariness and the mystery that surround the Catholic Church, and it taps into that theme in a unique way. The character Father Paul Hill plays a significant role in the creepiness of Midnight Mass. Now, is he somebody who is a cursed guy? Is he a man of evil? Is he a good guy? You're definitely left guessing throughout the entire show, like what is going on. It's definitely a mind bender. Although it does build gradually, it manages to draw you into this narrative that the show has. It's really, really good. And that's why it's number 1 in this episode. So there you have it, guys. This was a look at some of the creepiest and scariest religious horror movies that exist and TV show. Really hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, leave a big thumbs up. And let me know down below in the comments section, which horror movie did I miss? Sound off down below. Thanks for hanging out with me in another episode here on FTD Facts, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.